In this video, we will look at two functions in the data menu, namely split file and select cases. Now, suppose we don't want to have output regarding all of our test subjects, but we want to have separate output based on conditions that we have. We can see that there are two conditions, the positive and the negative condition. Now, if we want the output of all the analyses, we perform to be separate for the positive and the negative condition. We can accomplish that by splitting the file. For that, we go to split file, and in this menu there are two functions. We're going to look at them separately. The first one is compare groups, and this function creates output that makes it easy to compare different groups. You always have to indicate what you want what you want to base the groups on. So in this case, we want to base the groups on the different conditions that we have. We paste that syntax, we run the syntax, and you don't really get an output because we haven't done an analysis, but let's see what happens when we request descriptive statistics. For example, regarding the variable leeftijd, age, we paste the syntax and we select it and run it. And in this table, you see the output for the positive and the negative condition separately. Now, if you have split the file and you want to do another analysis regarding all test subjects, you need to make sure that you indicate that the following analyses cover all the cases. You need to turn off the fact that you have split the file. So I have done that here. I select it, I play it, and now I've turned off the split file. And again, you don't really get any real output because it's not an analysis. Now let's compare this to the second option, organize output by groups. We again put the condition in the input field, we paste the syntax, and then we ask again for the descriptive statistics, so I have to paste that down there. And following, I want to also turn off the split file, so I'm going to paste that down there as well. I select it, run it, and now you see that we get two separate tables. Looks a bit complicated. One for the positive condition and one for the negative condition. Now, you can imagine that if the output is a bit longer, it might be a little bit more difficult to compare. And at the end of this analysis, we've also turned off the split file again. And the reason I did this is because it allows us to look at another function under data, namely the option select cases. And this is something that's useful if you only want to get the output regarding certain test subjects. For example, you only want to do analyses about women and not about men. Or there are strange outliers in your data and you want to filter them out. In these cases, it's best to use the select cases option. Now, by default, in this menu, the option all cases is selected, but you can also choose if condition is satisfied, and then you can indicate which test subjects should be included. For example, we could only select women, and so here we see that the variable sex is indicated with a 0 being a woman and 1 indicating a man. And so if we say that we only want to include people that have 0 as a value, we are only going to be including the women. We paste the syntax once more. Then we request the descriptive statistics of the variable age. We run that syntax, and you now can see that the mean age has changed slightly because we didn't include all test subjects. And in the data view in particular, you can very clearly see what happened here. because you can see that a line has been added to those entries of individuals that do not meet the condition, people that are not being included in the analysis. And you can see that that's for everyone who has a 1 for gender. Those are the men. And as long as those diagonal lines are there, the corresponding test subjects are not included in the analysis. So in this case, men are not included. To turn this off again, go back to select cases, select all cases, paste that syntax once more, select it, run it, and with that we turn off the filter. Going back to the data set, we see that everyone is included once more.